Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome back. Today's video is a compilation of some of the most talked about LBC callers of 2025. Moments that sparked real debate, uncomfortable truths, and, in some cases, genuine reflection. You'll hear a wide range of voices in this clip, people challenging their own past views, others repeating claims they've picked up online, and presenters stepping in to test those ideas with facts and real-world experience. Stick with it until the end, because after the final clip, I'll share my thoughts on what these calls tell us about the mood of the country right now. And before we get into it, please take a second to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel grow and make sure you don't miss future breakdowns like this.
Well, I was a bit of a Nigel Farage when I was at school in the 90s.
Okay.
And I said some things to people that were definitely racist.
Can I ask why?
Why did I do it?
Yeah.
Because I was a child and stupid.
Okay.
And as time's gone on, and as I've grown up, and now I'm in my mid-40s, I've realised those things were unacceptable and stupid.
So can I ask you, put the same question to you I put to the previous caller, Terry, that if you were to meet any of the people that you were vile to back in the day, would you feel the urge or need to apologise?
Absolutely, I would do, and I have done.
You have done? Tell me more. I'm liking you, Richie. I like a man with a heart. I do like a man with a heart.
Well, I've met these people again. We went to a boarding school, so we were around these people a lot more time than maybe you are if you're at a normal school. And, I definitely said some really racist things at the time, and I had a stepfather at the time who thought it was acceptable to, and actually encouraged me to be racist.
I do. I'm very much of the opinion that children have to be taught racism, and you have given a great example there, Richie, a great example.
Well, that's where I got it from. He taught me to be racist. He told me that these people were not as good as me. And as time's gone on, I've realised that they're the same as me.
Can I ask how you learnt that?
Because it's a difficult one.
It's not an easy question, I know. Yeah.
Because as time's gone on, I've just realised that my daughter got into a relationship with a Polish guy who is lovely. And I have a shopkeeper around the corner who's Hindu, who is the hardest working man I've ever met. And I've just realised over time that we are just people trying to get on in the world, and whatever colour your skin is, or whatever your faith is, or whatever your background is, we are just all the same people, just trying to get on in the world and strive to look after our families and our people.
Richie, I feel like getting on a bus, going down to Colchester now, seeking you out and giving you a massive hug, absolutely massive hug, because...
I could go for a beer, mate.
We'll have the hug first and then do the beer. Tell me, because I about the day you apologised. How did it lead up? What did you say, and how did the person respond?
We did a school reunion, and he was just like, "It's fine, I'm used to it," which is sad, isn't it?
Yes, it is. How did you feel after apologising?
I'll be honest, I felt like a bit of a weight had been lifted, but also I felt more of an idiot.
Why?
Because I was just ignorant, wasn't I? I was just a silly young boy who...
You've been poisoned by your stepfather. I wouldn't bring on... What's it for me to say? But I don't. It doesn't. You were poisoned. You were groomed, is one of the words we use to have these thoughts, and it just gives me. And I can't tell you how many messages that are coming through about you at the moment. This caller gives me hope. Yeah, I have tears in my eyes, says Alison. Previous caller Terry should take a leaf out of Richie's book. Richie from Colchester is brilliant. These are the messages that are coming in now, and I agree with every one of them, because to me, being a man, being an adult, is about facing up to the things we've done wrong. And putting them right. And when I hear people like yourself doing it and having the cojones to do it on the radio, I think I can say that, having the cojones to do it on the radio, makes my heart leap, Richie. Can't put it any other way. Makes it worth getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to hear people like you.
Hi.
Evening.
I'm not going to say what should happen, but I'm going to comment on the previous moves by different actors. Okay, Zelensky and Trump agreed on this proposal for 30 days. They didn't consult Putin or Russia at all. So they can't expect Putin to accept it straight away. Because Putin was, in my view, the only adult in this particular circumstance. All others are kids who are screaming and shouting. His answer was really mature. He said, let's see what brought this all about. Why did this war start? And Marco Rubio, when he first met in Saudi Arabia, met the Russian delegation, he admitted that this war is a proxy war between America and Russia. So if it is a proxy war...
I don't think he did, Josh. I don't think he did say that.
He did. Check it, please.
You think that Marco Rubio said that America is involved in a proxy war with Russia?
Yes. The only thing is Trump didn't start it. It was, I think, Obama who started it. Victoria Nuland and others invested billions of dollars into this coup.
But the war was started by Vladimir Putin launching an invasion of Ukraine. Can we agree on that?
It was not invasion. It was defense of the Russian-speaking population.
Oh, Josh.
Oh, Ben.
This is just Kremlin. You're a Kremlin. You're a Putin. I'm not anti-Russian. I'm anti-Putin, sir. I'm anti-Putin. Josh, I'm anti-Putin. I am very, very resolutely anti-Putin. I tell you what you are, sir. Josh, if you let me actually get a word in, I tell you what you are. You are a Putin apologist.
No, you are a hater of Russia.
I'm a hater of Putin. I think, of course I am. Any politician that has their political opponents murdered and butchered and disappeared and locks them up, any dictator that represses their own people and invades sovereign countries is someone who I absolutely despise, Josh. I struggle to understand why you don't, sir.
Well, let me speak and I'll explain.
Go on. You've done a lot of speaking. Please carry on.
Impose your view.
No,
you
Josh,
can't impose your view.
Josh,
who cares what you think?
I ask you questions, sir.
Program. This is not your
and what
personal...
you're doing is ranting. You're not having a conversation. You're ranting.
Well, allow me to speak and I won't rant.
Far away.
Okay. So Marco Rubio said it was a proxy war between Russia and America and Russia. So he admitted who was to blame. NATO wanted to expand. America wants to create a new sphere of interest and exploit Ukraine, which shows now with this Earth deal. So that's America's business. Everywhere in the world, they stage coups, they occupy and exploit countries like Iraq, Libya, Syria, everywhere. So it's American initiated war.
Right, but this wasn't a Russian initiated war in your view.
No. They are defending their country.
Right. Which country are they defending?
Russia.
And that involves invading other sovereign countries, does it? In the name of defense?
They defended their own
Josh, let me ask you
against
this.
the onslaught of the fascists in Kiev.
Josh, let me ask you this. The women and the children of Ukrainian towns and villages like Bucha and Irpin, what threat did they pose to the Russian people?
Well, that was invented. It was not a Russian who did it.
Oh, Josh, get off the radio. Get off this show. And don't ever you dare call me again. I don't want to talk to you ever again. We can have a conversation. When you are claiming that Russia didn't butcher children, women, men, pets in their homes, as has been completely, comprehensively confirmed by various independent outlets and organisations, you are a Putin apologist and you are an appeaser for war crimes, I'm afraid. And don't call me ever again, because I'm happy to have a conversation. I'm happy to have a conversation, even with people who think that this was somehow a defensive war. We can talk about that. But if you are going to whitewash massacres of innocent people by Russian forces at Putin's bequest, that's not something I'm willing to engage with, I'm afraid.
Well, I am really concerned for my offspring that we are going to lose our religion and our Britishness. And it's got to happen.
It's got to happen?
Yes, well, if I think Sir Winston Churchill can explain it better than me. And he's I think were wise words. When Muslims are in the minority, they are very concerned with minority rights. When they are in the majority, there are no minority rights. And that was the wise words of Winston Churchill.
I will check the wise words of Winston Churchill on that particular point, Lenny.
Yeah, please do.
But there is absolutely no suggestion, even if that were true, that there is going to be a majority Muslim country anytime soon here.
Well, I mean, the way the country is going, the Muslims already have priority over the indigenous people of our country.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it's two-tier law, isn't it?
What does that mean?
There's double standards
In
with
what
our
way,
law
then?
and order at the moment in favour of the Muslim community.
Right, tell me in what way, sir?
Well, if you watch, it's every day. There are, when you have a Muslim parade, they're allowed to get away with no arrest, nothing, and talk about their religion and the infidel, what they want to do with the infidels.
Which parade is
and
this,
then
Lenny?
when it comes to an English parade by patriots of this country, they're treated totally different.
Lenny, what parade is this that you've seen where chants about the infidels have been let out?
Well, when you see it, on a Saturday, nearly every week in London and the cities. When you see, we are only the basic religion of an infidel is that when they when possible, and they preach to kill infidels.
Lenny, you're right. There are people who use an extremist version of Islam, we normally call it Islamists, who preach some horrendous things about jihad and infidels and all that kind of stuff. Normally they're picked up by the police. Too often they're able to find a loophole or two that keeps them out of the prison cell for a long time. But the police are putting people like that behind bars.
Not often enough, Tom. When you look at the
But what about
the
any of this,
people
Lenny?
that are
By the way, the remark you attribute to Winston Churchill, I'm quoting here, Lee Pollock, the trustee and advisor to the board of the International Churchill Society, says, of the quote that you just gave, Lenny, it does not appear in any of his many books, articles or speeches, nor is there any attribution from a witness that he/she heard him say that.
Well, I personally read something by Winston Churchill, and I thought
Right.
I'll say that one day because that will come in handy.
And it's something that the trustee and advisor of the board of the International Churchill Society has not read?
Okay, well, put it this way then.
So you might be wrong. Do you think you might be wrong on
Well,
that quote?
if I am wrong, I am saying it because when you go to a Muslim country, you haven't got no
Right,
rights.
so you haven't. Just to be clear, you are now not ascribing that quote to Churchill. You're telling me that you are saying it as something that you believe to be true.
Well, when I read it, it was signed by Winston Churchill, and if he didn't say it, if he did not,
It was signed
that
by Winston
would be
Churchill.
my fear.
You saw it
That
online,
would
didn't
be-
you, Lenny? And you saw
No.
a signature of Winston Churchill underneath that quote with maybe a picture of Winston Churchill in the background. And you, in your head, you've said, "Oh my God, Winston Churchill signed this off and put it as a meme on Instagram."
Well, all right. If
Come on, Lenny, you're better
if we
than that.
agree to disagree on that, but I will say, you go to a Muslim country. When does infidels have the same rights as a Muslim?
What do you mean by infidel?
Non-Muslims.
Have the same rights?
There are 27 Muslim countries in the world that nobody else but a Muslim can buy property or land in them countries.
Give me one of them.
Well, a lot of them are in Africa, and
Well, give me one.
hold on, which one was it?
Well, it was the same one that was underneath the Winston Churchill post, probably.
No, it wasn't. Let me.
You go on.
No, I'll tell you something.
Okay.
I cannot think of the country itself, but no. But when you hold on, where does everybody go for holidays? Muslim countries, oh dear. I'm sorry, Tom.
Don't you worry, Lenny. It's very high. I understand. If you come on national radio and you ascribe quotes to a former prime minister that turns out not to be true, and then you can't think of a single country in Africa to back up your point that there are 27 countries in which I can understand that that's a very difficult thing. If it's all right with you, I'm going to leave it there because, you know.
Slightly, James, if I may.
Only slightly. You can disagree a lot if you want. Go on.
There's 2 points that come to mind, and that is one, Keir Starmer is a leader. He is someone who is there to lead.
Yes.
Not necessarily to manage, not necessarily to negotiate. We have other people to do those things. He is there to set an example and be someone that I would want to feel wish I was a bit more like them. Now, I don't feel that about Keir because I wouldn't behave that way towards Trump. I'd want somebody to be a bit more like Obama, a bit more like Mark Carney, a bit more like, someone who would stand up to the bully, because bullies don't get stood up to by individuals.
Well,
You know,
it depends how much power they've got. I don't know. I mean, I admire Mark Carney, and I think you're right. But Canada and the UK are very different places, and of course, the punishment beatings that Canada is currently receiving are it's not even possible that we'd be able to sustain similar. We certainly wouldn't be able to sustain what Brazil is currently enduring.
But, and I agree with all of that, but then again, you know, you don't stand up. It's only once you start standing up to the bully that eventually enough people stand up and the bully gets taken down. He can't be taken down individually. It has to be by collective action, by a group of individuals who get together, and together they are stronger than the bully. And that doesn't start with everyone kowtowing to the bully.
No.
You know, you've got to be in a position where everyone who you want to be like, as in, I want to feel like I wish I was more like that person, because they have stood up to them. They have started this ball rolling. There will be punishment. There will be difficulty, but I can get behind a leader like that. Whereas if you're telling me, well, you know, I've kowtowed, I've grovelled, you know, he said he won't be bad to me. He said he won't take my land. He said he won't invade. He said he won't this. He said he won't that. We'll be okay. We'll be okay. Don't matter about them. They'll be, you know, no, I don't want a leader like that. I want a leader that I can get behind, even if it's difficult.
I do too. I know. I could, if you were here, I'd grasp you like Eric Morecambe grasping Ernie Wise and give you a big kiss on the forehead, because I agree with every single thing you've said, and yet somehow I disagree at the same time. I've also got Brexit bouncing around in my brain at the moment, because I wonder whether, absent Brexit, if we hadn't done that really stupid thing, which of course Trump recognised as an act of enormous self-harm because a weakened UK suits him down to the ground, then Starmer could have played a role a bit like the one Gordon Brown played during the international financial crisis. But we've got no friends.
But wasn't Brexit
There's no one we can call.
A failure of leadership?
Yes, Brexit was a huge failure of leadership, but it has left us completely isolated, and it's left that, I would argue, if we were going to get academic about it, that even if Starmer wanted to be the man that you describe, and I'd much rather be led by that man, and I oddly think Keir Starmer is probably capable of being that man, but not in this context. It's a bit like, after Brexit, you decide you're going to stand up to Donald Trump, so you get your contacts book out, and there's no one in it anymore.
That's true, but I mean, and this is very much a feely thing, you know.
Yeah, I feel what you feel.
Doing that, I would attract those people back. You know, they would start to say, oh, actually, you know, here is something we agree on. We disagreed on Brexit, but guys, we need to get together to take action on this big threat that is affecting us all. Let's step in the right direction. If they look across and they say, well, look, they thought they'd do better with Brexit. Well, that's obviously a lie. Now they're sort of kowtowing. This doesn't bend, you know, this doesn't get me going in the right way. I would think you would start new alliances, new allegiances, new sort of, you'd collect together this group of people who eventually would be strong enough to take on the bully. And you have to start somewhere. I'm just not seeing that at the moment.
No,
it's probably better in the short term for the country, financially, in other ways. But that, I mean, since when has that been what you want to get behind and believe?
What if Keir Starmer adopts... So I'll tell you, the leader that you're describing actually is Sadiq Khan at the moment. The Mayor of London has spoken out in the strongest of terms about who Trump is and what he represents. And Sadiq Khan is able to do that, but I don't think he would be able to do it as Prime Minister. I don't know, of course. It's a counterfactual, but I don't think that he would. And as you say, it's feelings you're describing. And that's why I've been at pains, and I possibly have failed this morning, to explain that offering up warm words makes me feel awful. I've used words like curdle. You know, it's a hideous position to be in. It's why I've played out all these clips. But standing up to bullies is not always the answer. I'll say it to you, Cam. I'm flashing back now to 1986 in North Yorkshire, when a housemaster said to me, you must always stand up to bullies. And I said, what if you're the bully, sir?
That is fair. But hang on, here's another one. In every workplace across the country, you know, you will have, if you work in an office of any description, anti-bullying policies, and, you know, you are required to call out when someone behaves badly. It is the only way to change behaviour.
Except most people won't, and the only people that will, with a few glorious exceptions, will be people who are potentially more powerful than the bully. And you're right, you can make your own power by making alliances. Yes, I mean, look, my pendulum's not swinging, because I don't think he has any choice, but my God, I wish he did, which is probably the point of agreement between us, except you're a little bit closer to thinking that he does have a choice.
If Putin was the bad guy you say he is, he would have taken Georgia.
You don't think Putin's a bad guy?
He's crept along. If Putin was the madman we say he is...
He's been so restrained, hasn't he?
Nuclear weapons by now.
He's been so restrained, and his forces have kidnapped 20,000 children.
No, he hasn't kidnapped 20,000 children.
Probably more.
All right, back in February, when Ukraine and the first round of negotiations between Ukraine and Russia, Ukraine could only come up with 359 names of kids that they were looking for out of the supposed 20,000 you just quoted.
Well, that, I'm afraid, again, it's complete fiction.
Names?
It's complete fiction because we know that there are thousands of Ukrainian children that have been taken into Russia and have not been returned. And if you deny that, James, I'm afraid you're as culpable as anyone in this.
I'm not. What I'm saying, from east, a lot they came out of the eastern regions where an awful lot of those 20,000 were Russian-speaking kids.
Oh, so it's okay for them to be kidnapped?
They want, they're speaking Russian.
No. They were taken from their homes in all the different parts of Ukraine, but you're right, in the Donbass as well, Russian-speaking area, and they were taken into Russia. Now, if you don't consider that kidnapping, I don't know what you would describe it as.
If you're telling me they were all kidnapped when a good few thousand of them were found in Germany, but nobody ever mentions that.
Found in Germany?
Yeah. A good number of a good couple of thousand kids were found.
So it's probably NATO that kidnapped them then, was it?
I'm not saying that. Everyone check out for yourself. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I think finally I've silenced you. Thank goodness for that.
I just wanted to call in regarding the question you asked about would we fight for our country?
Yeah.
Now, just for context, I am 25 years old, I'm from Manchester, and I am mixed race. I'm half Pakistani and I'm half English.
Yeah.
Now, when I was ending my time in high school, around 14, 15, 16, I was heavily considering a future in the armed forces.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to Sandringham, train as an officer, and that was dead set on what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Now, at that same time, the Brexit conversation was starting to become big in the UK. You had UKIP really coming to the forefront, and I'd always described myself as a very patriotic person. I was raised by the white side of my family. I considered myself British, English. If someone asked me where I was from, I would say Manchester. You know what I mean? Even when people...
I'm a Salford boy, you would say. Salford boys, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm from Bury originally. Okay. So shout out to Bury there.
Yeah.
But basically, when that period of time came about and I felt that hatred that I hadn't really felt for a long time since I was very young, kind of come back to the country, I had to really reconsider how I felt towards dying for a country that seemed like it didn't really want me in it.
Yeah.
And I think you'll find a lot of young people feel a similar way, and it's not just based off what race they may be or the religion or anything like that. I think just a lot of people look at the people who've had control of this country for the past 15 years and go, well, they don't care about me. You know what I mean? Like, we have no public funding for all the important things. So if they don't care about the NHS, they're not going to care about soldiers they're putting on the front lines. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. And did you hear my guest, Major General Tim Cross, saying that he regards leadership as being about service and care, first of all?
Definitely.
And you feel that service and care is absent for young people from the country that they live in?
Yeah, I could not agree with the Major General more, especially when he was talking about... I can't remember exactly what he said, but it's around the apathy that young people feel towards this country at the moment. I mean, the irony of it is now, 10 years ago, I was looking to sign up and die for my country, and now I'm trying to get an Irish passport because I don't want to be a part of this country anymore. I mean, I've always been a politically...
Is your mum's side of the family Irish?
Well, my grandparents, their heritage is Irish.
Were they born there?
So, no, unfortunately, that's what I mean. I'm in
Tricky.
the process of... I know. And this is my worry. Basically, I'd like to move to Spain to just try and find better opportunities and maybe a little bit of sun. And I can't do that because, again, the people who lead this country decided to rile everyone against minorities and get us out of Brexit. Yeah, get us out of the EU. Do you know what I mean?
That's just, your experience is so interesting. So you're talking about over a decade ago pretty much now, aren't we? 2016. So you would have been a teenager then. And in that decade, your sense of belonging to the UK has it died completely?
It's completely evaporated. I'll be honest with you. I being of a mixed heritage, I am around people from all types of places in the world. Spend a lot of my time in Cheetham Hill in Manchester, which is I think it is the most multicultural place in Europe. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure another caller will do. and I speak to a lot of my friends are Muslims, a lot of my friends are North Africans, Arabs specifically, and I used to argue with them all the time. They used to be like, nah, this country, it's not for us, mate. They don't want us here. And I used to be like, nah, mate, that's the whole point of being British.
Well, hang on. Let me try. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I really do. Trust me. Let's see if we can reignite. I'm no flag waver of any country, so I'm not talking about that. But let me see if we can reignite some love or and when I say gratitude, I mean being grateful, not gratitude because you. I mean I am grateful that I, particularly as a woman, I am grateful that I live in a country. I'm grateful that I live in a country where I am free, where I can say what I like, where I
100%.
have opportunities. But I get lots of people are feeling they don't have an opportunity and are struggling to find an opportunity. I'm not making light of that at all. But let's see what you've got. Education. You had a decent education, did you? Yeah.
I studied. I did my GCSEs. I went to college, and that was where I was planning to build up the UCAS points to be able to go to Sandringham. At that same time, where my faith in this country kind of dissipated, my faith in the education system, my faith in the opportunities that were available. You know, I'm from a what you would probably describe as a lower income family, and at the time, especially under that Conservative government, it started to feel as if anything I did would be pointless anyway.
Who or what made you feel that?
You know what? It's hard to explain because there's probably tons of factors at the time that affected how I felt towards it. But I just felt that there was a lack of opportunity, especially for people such as myself. And I'm not trying to cry, pull the
no, and I'm not.
A lot of the bigots will say I'm trying to do.
No. I think your conversation is fantastic. I'm not trying to say that you're a moaner. I just think it's very, because I don't think you are. You don't sound like a moaner at all. I think it's really easy for us all to forget what we have when we're struggling to get the next thing, or some doors are being closed in our face, which clearly is how you feel, and have experienced perhaps. I'm not saying you're a moaner at all. I'm just trying to get a sense of when you lost that sense of there being opportunity, what was it that was happening around you that made you think, oh God, there's nothing here for me?
I think it was just mainly because of how interested in politics I was at the time, and I could see all the effects of austerity that, you had statistics like 150,000 people died as a result of austerity. Just the idea of that in my head, that in this beautiful country that I've been defending to all of my mates for years, anywhere in the world I will go, I'll tell them this is the best country in the world. And then we let 150,000 people starve because of austerity. Like, what is this as a nation anymore? I thought we were supposed to be the good guys. Like your last caller there, you're talking about how we're a kind nation and we're this and we're that. I mean, the irony of it, that a 50-odd-year-old man is saying that he will go and fight and die for this country when he knows full well he'll never have to make that decision. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just a talking point. And that's the thing.
Well, although, to be fair to him, he was still saying he would do whatever he was asked to do, even if that didn't involve fighting.
But Sheila, he's never going to be, so it doesn't matter. And that's the point. If he was my age and I knocked on his door right now as an army recruiter and said, listen, mate, we're going to war. Are you coming? He's not going to come. I promise you, Sheila. That 90% of people are not, especially a war that we don't feel like, World War II, it's a different situation. We have an ideology that we have to fight. The reality of it now, most young people are turned on enough mentally to understand that we're dying to be fodder for the military-industrial complex. What is the point?
Well, hang on, Dom, hang on.
To make an extra $1 billion a year.
No. Hang on. There are a lot of events that could happen that would give the lie to what you've just said. If your family were physically threatened, or you found that a foreign actor, a foreign country, was finding all kinds of ways to attack the UK, i.e. you, me, your mum, your dad, your siblings, your mates, your neighbours, that's nothing to do with BAE Systems and the military complex. You and I would all have to respond somehow to that.
I understand what you're saying, but Sheila, can I just say, I feel more threatened here, honestly. When the riots happened in the summer, my partner is of Jamaican origin. I'm worried about her going to work now. I'm thinking, what if she works in the centre of Manchester? What if she walks through the riots and someone tries doing something? I'm not worried about, people in other countries. I'm really not. I'm worried about the hatred we have on our own shores. Now, a lot of the lads I grew up with, young white lads from the same poor background that I was from, you know, I wouldn't describe these lads as racist. Yeah. But if I go back to Bury now and ask them, they're all voting for reform, Sheila. They are. Yeah. And the reality of that is the people in charge of this country have poisoned the minds of the people who live here. The reality is...
Poison the minds, or... Hang on. Poison the minds, or just let you down?
Well, I think
they're two very different things, aren't they?
I think first they let us down, and then to hide the fact that they've let us down, they point towards the you know, you've got to make a scapegoat of someone in it. So clearly, it's the brown people, it's the immigrants, it's these people. They're the ones that are the problem. Or Western values. Oh, that's the issue. It's the people who don't support Western.
Hang on. Of all the political parties, which is pointing to those more often than others? Would you say?
In terms of which is
brown
blaming
faces
people the most?
And blaming people, yeah.
Well, it's reform and to a lesser extent the Conservative government. I mean, the last Conservative government...
And yet you're telling me that Bury is turning towards them. Young people like you in Bury are turning towards them.
Yeah, but there's a famous quote, I can't remember who said it, but and I'm paraphrasing, but it's...
You sound like me.
yeah, there's most of us in it, just making it up on the spot. But no, there's a famous quote, I'll paraphrase, and it's something along the lines of, when the current idea doesn't work, the next idea will be among notes just laying around at the time. Do you understand what I'm saying? So
there's nothing new under the sun, maybe. Is that what you're thinking of?
It's along the lines of that. There is actually a quote. I heard it on Gary's Economics, a YouTube channel that I watch. But the reality of it is, if the current system doesn't work and the people within that system feel dejected, they will just pick whatever is the next biggest voice being shouted.
Right, so I am convinced I have ADHD. I'm an absolute nightmare. I've been fired from every job I've ever had from 19 because I don't want to be managed. I want to be left alone. I can achieve. I'm a really high achiever if I'm left alone. People don't leave you alone. So at 53, I start my own business and wow, it's great because... you know, I can do it my way. So, yes, I felt suicidal in my 20s. I've had periods of depression. But I was taught you work, you get a job, you work, do something, do anything, work. Don't sit at home. I've laid in bed for days on end feeling sad and sorry for myself and really, really down. But that is not good for you. Claiming benefits, shameful. You should feel ashamed. They can help you for a short time, I agree, but you cannot live and have generation after generation getting a house. My niece, my big fat niece, always talk about her, has never had a job from 18, she's 36, never worked. Then she has a child.
Sorry, Andrea, I'm so sorry. Andrea, sorry. Not to tread on family landmines here, but did you just describe her as your big fat niece?
Yeah, which she is. Lazy, useless, does nothing. But, she's got issues. Yeah, her mother told her probably she had issues. She should work. She can walk dogs. She could clean old people's homes. She could do something. Everyone on benefits should be doing something to, achieve... to do something. You can't just be handed money and said, oh, here you go, have a load of money and just sit there and we'll fund you. Because it's not fair. Everyone can do something. Well, I do struggle, but I do something. I try. I keep trying.
It's not fair that people's... Oh, gosh, Andrea, you really are. I mean, you're very angry. It's not fair that people have their lives ruined by conditions that they're out of their control. That's a great, great unfairness. And it is very debilitating for people, and that's why I'm obviously perfectly comfortable for paying taxes to help people be caught by a safety net of cash if they need it. But I wonder to what extent maybe this money is going towards, perhaps in some cases, the milder end of anxiety and mood disorder, and what that money could otherwise be better spent on to help people like maybe your big fat niece, into work.
No, because she's been conditioned that you just sit there, you'll get a council house, you've got 3 dogs, which are expensive to feed, but don't worry, don't do anything, because we'll all pay for you. Well, we've all had enough of paying for you. That's what I'm trying to say, that we're all suffering, we're all struggling, we've all felt low, we've all felt like we can't cope, but enabling and paying for people to do absolutely nothing and help no one is not good in my opinion.
You have your own example of your niece, which clearly informs your view. Andrea, thank you very much indeed. It's at this moment of the programme, if we were really clever about this, guys, we would have Andrea's niece on a line somewhere just to bring her in at this moment and really... Wow, it would feel very 2010s, wouldn't it?
Good morning, Clive.
Yes, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I was saying, me and my wife have been now going for about 20 years to Nudist Beach in Studland Bay, which is in Dorset. We were originally from Kent. So just quickly, we're not deviants or anything like that. I'm a working man. I'm, accounting things. My wife is here. Which wants to say?
Oh. This is Cynthia's husband. I've been going out 20 years with him, and actually we were in Dale in the past, Studland Bay, and in Kent. The one in Kent as well. Sorry about that.
Yes, my wife is now in Dale. He went with us to one of the beaches. More than that.
What is happening? I mean, could you put the phone a bit closer? I'm struggling to hear you slightly, Clive, so put the phone right next to your mouth.
I
that's
was just saying, my wife took over there. She's quite... do you want to
pass me over to your wife then, Clive?
I will try. The reception's good, what she's saying, but I can repeat things what she's saying.
What's your wife's name?
Cynthia.
Okay. It's Clive and Cynthia. Nice. How long have you been going nude for, Cynthia?
Okay. Well, I mean, we've been been going for 20 years, but
I want to hear from Cynthia.
Sorry, here we go. Can you hear it? This is a reception, I don't think. Okay.
Hi, just quite funny things to the one in Kent as well. Sorry about that. But we have a really nice time and free-thinking people.
Yes, well, we've been going now with Cynthia for about 20 years, would you say?
Hi, just quickly. This is Cynthia's husband. I've been going out 20 years with him, and actually we were in Dale in the past, Studland Bay, and in Kent, you think?
Yes, okay.
Can I, and I'm not being rude here, Clive.
Yes.
Are you doing a voice for Cynthia, or is Cynthia real?
No.
Can you both speak at the same time?
I think it's just because of the signal.
Yeah, no, don't worry. But I'd quite like you both to speak at the same time, if possible.
I don't mind talking for her, but the thing is, like you said, she is a bit nervous.
That's fine, but if Cynthia's standing next to you, then why can't you both speak at the same time?
Do you want to talk at the same time, or will we be interfering with LBC signal? What do you reckon? No, I'll talk
No, it'll be absolutely fine. I've checked.
Yes, well, like I said, I think it's okay, darling. Don't get nervous now. But yes, I was just saying that...
Can you ask Cynthia, what was the last nude beach she went to?
Well, we went to Studland Bay, which was recently, both together. Well, didn't we? I can talk around that one, but you like which one? Sorry, about Dawlish. She went to the one in Dawlish, she got to in Devon. And that was about 2 months ago, would you say? Yes, 2 months ago.
And what does she think about... What does Cynthia think about that?
She thinks it's beautiful. She thinks everything's beautiful.
Well, I'd like to hear what she has to say. Just, I mean, the last word to Cynthia. I won't keep bothering Cynthia, but could you just ask her lastly what she made of it?
Out of 10, she thought it was a good 9.
But how is she telling you this? Can you ask her? I'd like to hear Cynthia's voice.
Okay, bear with 2 seconds. What did you think? I think Clive's saying to the last beach when we went to. Would you say it was any good?
Yes, it was really, really nice, and I liked it, but I preferred it when I was with Kent. The thing is, when I was with 20, in Dale was so nice with us. He's such a nice man in Dale.
Okay, that's enough, thank you.
Cynthia's voice has changed dramatically.
Well, it's because I think she's either starstruck or she's very nervous again. She does get this sometimes. I was saying to one of your juniors on the phone, with an old chap being a little bit behind the ears still. But like I said, I do ring quite a bit, and I can tell you we are very good fans of yours.
Right.
I explained to her that if she had a fascination with Ian Dale, he's probably not on the other side of the bench, you know what I mean?
She had a what?
If she had a fascination or starstruck...
Oh, with Ian Dale.
He's probably on the wrong side of the place. The other team.
Well, he's married. He's married, I'm afraid. You have to let Cynthia down gently. Thank you, Clive. Thank you, Cynthia. Wow, it's an interesting morning, isn't it?
Hiya. Well, I'm actually annoyed with this hypocrisy. I'm going to tell you why. Charlie Kirk himself, said that empathy was a new age word, and he said that mass shootings were acceptable if it meant he could have his Second Amendment after Sandy Hook and all that happened. And also, when the Democrat people got killed the other month, them Democrats, he was laughing about it. And I'm telling you now, maybe this guy shouldn't have said it quite the way he said it. But I've had enough, because the person you just said, he was just a family value man. This family value man said that gay people are an error, transgender people are mental. So, apparently free speech is only okay if you're on the right. Apparently, if you're on the left, you're not allowed free speech. You've got to be some sort of upstanding citizen. Well, I've had enough of this hypocrisy. It's so hypocrisy. It's ridiculous.
Is it not true though that Charlie Kirk's manner of expressing his thoughts and feelings was?
So he was polite but a racist, So you're talking about white replacement theory that black people, black women in particular, were not clever. But it's all right as long as you do it politely, So I'll tell you what then. Let's all be. This is how middle class people get, like Farage and all that, get into power. So what? Because they can do it politely? Is that how it works? because I've had enough of it. We've got Tommy Robinson March right now doing all their thing, but that's okay. That's freedom of speech. That's freedom of speech, yeah? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Do you know what, Vanessa? I've had enough. We either have a line that freedom of speech has got responsibilities, which I wholeheartedly agree with, right? Or we don't. We've got people like Graham, that guy that you spoke to. I bet he'd been fine with Graham Lyon and making jokes about transgender people, yeah? The other week we had this right uproar about that. Yeah, apparently one Oxford person saying that. Are you having a laugh, mate? I've had enough of it. We either have it all or nothing, or we have equal for both sides.
I appreciate the call, Abigail, and I appreciate the call. I appreciate your passion, absolutely, and I appreciate that you stand at the end of your tether, and you have put yourself over brilliantly with conviction, with passion, with eloquence, and with fire. It's been great listening to you.
I think no, absolutely not. No bank holiday. I don't know where everyone gets this. The whole country's behind the women's football. I don't watch it. I'm a massive football fan. I'm a Chelsea fan. I can't watch women's football. End of. And like most blokes who I talk to, no one watches it. No one's interested in it. How many St George's flags have you seen flying out of our houses or cars? No one's interested.
But wouldn't it be nice if we were interested, Graham?
Yeah, listen, I think most people like me, most blokes who are football-minded, are sick and tired of having women's football thrown down our throats.
Well, you
turn on the telly, there's always women. Listen, I've got nothing against women's football, but give them their own channel. With their own commentators and everything. But they won't because they want to watch it. And as for the hospitality...
But people do want to watch it, Graham.
Sorry?
People do want to watch women's football.
Yeah, but not like the whole country's behind you. No, they're not. No, I won't be watching it.
Why?
And I'm a massive football
What else are you doing?
I'll be probably working. I'll probably work.
Do you know, I mean, you say no one's watching it. Graham, 10 million people watched the Euro semi-final.
Right, yeah.
Which is, it's a lot of people. And you're saying no one's interested?
How many millions of people in this country?
Well, 60-odd million, 70 million.
Yeah, 60-odd million, yeah. So but what's the percentage of that then?
It's still pretty blooming high compared to other shows and other things that are on TV.
When are people going to get it? A lot of people are not interested. And as for the hospitality...
What I don't get, Graham, is would you say you're patriotic?
Yes, very. So why haven't we got a bank holiday for St George's Day?
Well, we should have a bank holiday for St George's Day.
Exactly. That comes first.
Yeah, but you cannot... I mean, that's a separate conversation. But what I don't understand is, if you're so patriotic, why wouldn't you be cheering on the Lionesses?
Because I can't stand women's football.
But why?
It's been thrown down our throats.
But what do you mean can't stand... I mean, I can understand reservations about it not being as quick as the men's game, for example, but the idea that you can't stand it, I don't get that.
No, it's totally different to men's football. Listen, a decent Sunday men's football team would beat the women's football team.
I don't think they would.
But what about the women's football, the England team, a couple of years ago, played Crystal Palace, under-18s, behind locked doors, and they had to abandon the game at half-time. It was 8-0 to Crystal Palace youth.
But do you not think, Graham, it's had a lot more attention since then, and also women aren't often...
Only because it's been thrown in our faces. But the hospitality thing. Listen, the pubs were open till 1 o'clock. Who do they think goes and watches women's football? It's young kids and girls. They're not interested in going to the pub.
But hold on, Graham. I think there's an argument to get people interested in women's football. One of the reasons why the women aren't at the same quality is also because it's not taught in schools.
Right.
So would you not support women sort of being able to play from a younger age and then the quality goes up? Because people always cite that Crystal Palace example, which I do understand. But, I mean, you know, they can only improve. You can only support women's football so it gets better, no?
No, not interested in it. Not interested in it at all.
What else are you doing tomorrow night, Graham?
I'll probably work, mate. I'm a London black cabbie and I'll probably work rather than watch that. Like most men.
But what I don't get is, because, Graham, I'm an Arsenal fan, so obviously I support a much better team than you, so I've got a different perspective. But what I don't get is, I mean, if football's... You're right. Compared to the England men's team, I'm not going to be as invested in each player. I couldn't name you the whole England Lioness starting 11, if I'm being honest. But I'll still watch it and cheer on England. It's like the same... I'm not a rugby fan, but if the Six Nations are on, I'll watch it and I'll cheer on England.
Yeah, I would. The men's rugby, anything to do with the men.
But why wouldn't that extend to the women's sports?
No, because you don't get it. People in this country, men and football fans, are fed up with this being thrown in our faces. Women come... If Betcha Day's on and a woman commentator, I turn it off. I can't listen to that voice. I can't... Give them their own channel, but they won't because they no one to watch it.
But what do you mean you can't stand their voice? But all women...
Yeah, I can't... They shouldn't be in the men's game. End of.
Are you married? Are you married to a woman, Graham?
Yeah, I am. She feels the same.
What, she doesn't like any women's voice?
No, not on the football. She agrees with me. She's not really into football, but she'll sit there and watch it.
Okay. Thank you, Graham. No good luck to Chelsea. I hope they do appallingly next season. My brother's a Chelsea fan, so there we go. Thank you, Graham.
So, looking back at these calls as a whole, what really stands out isn't any single argument or moment. It's the pattern. Again and again, you hear how powerful emotion, frustration, and personal experience have become in shaping people's views, sometimes more than facts or context. Some callers showed real growth and self-reflection. Others repeated claims they'd clearly absorbed from headlines or social media. And a few simply talked past the evidence put in front of them. What LBC does at its best is expose that contrast in real time. When ideas are challenged calmly and directly, you can hear where they hold up and where they fall apart. These calls are a snapshot of where public debate is right now. Messy, passionate, often confused, but occasionally honest in a way you don't hear anywhere else. That's why these moments matter. They're not just radio arguments. They're a mirror of the conversations happening across the country every day. Let me know what stood out to you most in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.